Golden child takes my drinks without asking if it's okay to do so, not from the US or Europe. So while English is still the main language I choose to speak, I'm still struggling to structure my sentences properly. Forgive me for the errors made here. For context, he's the youngest son in the family, and my parents tends to brush off whatever he does with the excuse of, "We'll replace it." Well, my dad has stopped enabling that behavior for a couple of years. He moved in with his family to my parents' home after failing to make it big in Australia. My siblings forced him to come back after finding out he demanded 10K from our mother, who is retired and has a stroke. It's a 5-room flat, so my sister was kicked out of her room and had to occupy the slightly smaller study room until they moved out earlier this April. My husband and I plus our baby is currently staying with my parents while waiting for our house to finish being built. They stayed about a year plus, and it was a nightmare with them over. In that span of time they were here, they complained about my son, who either needed to be soothed back to sleep or just refused to sleep while attempting putting their new born to sleep. Granted, I do feel guilty about that. Then, they attempted to kick me, my husband and son out of the house when the 2 boys had COVID. It only lasted a day for them, and I tried to rationalize it since they have 2 kids. One was a year old and the other, about 2 or 3 months. Anyway, this pissed off the eldest who came down to mediate because I was already stressed out about the situation, and my dad told me that, "No, you're not going anywhere. He has no right to do that." Besides, we used my parents' bathroom to shower my son, or when we need to use the toilet and rarely went out. This needs to be known as well that we had nowhere else to go. We couldn't go to my in-laws' place because Phil, a stroke patient, just got back home from the ICU due to COVID, so I thought we were done with that. No, there's more. When their son had HMFD, their safest bet was to get their daughter out of the house. So that was a fun week of being cooped up in the room again because not only did they allow their son to run around the house touching everything including my son's walker, they couldn't be bothered to disinfect it. Although granted, I was told it only spreads via saliva. It's safer to be cautious. First-time mom with a then 6-month-old and all that. That's fine with all those, right? It couldn't get any more worse than that, right? You thought wrong. My younger brother throws a hissy fit whenever people touches his things without his permission, his wife especially. It got to the point that they started labeling everything that is theirs in the fridge. Like, no problem. But the hygiene, the amount of times they would treat this house like they own it. Refuses to clean up after themselves. Refused to clear the stove after they were done cooking. Lemma tell you, the amount of mold wriggling white maggots we would find in their leftover pastas. Demanding my younger sister to cook extra for their kid to eat and then getting upset when she makes the wrong kind of pasta. Only they can scold their son when he does something wrong at sick. But God forbid we try and pull that kind of sheet on them, and they go complaining, behind our backs to mom and dad or to one of the other in-laws, who lets us know on the tea. Also, my nephew, first brother, borrowed my brother's bag and it got washed because it's dirty, lol. Anyhow, they moved out early April, and the rest of us silently cheered, especially my husband. God, he hated them. But that's besides the point. A few days ago, I bought a whole packet, for small boxes, of want milk drinks. 0. Not sure if y'all can see it. Google it if you can't. Bought 2 packets, or 8 cartons of those delicious, sweet milk. Got the white version, less sweet, for my younger sister. She took one, the red one, and I told her that hers is the white ones. But if she wanted the red version, to at least ask me beforehand since I wanted to bring the rest to work. I forgot to bring it on a Friday, so I was like, okay, I'll bring it on Saturday. Come Saturday, again, I forgot about it. But that's fine. We chill. I'll bring it on Monday. It's still inside the fridge last I check anyway. Come Sunday, I went out to go to an open house my friend was hosting. Did not check the fridge. Today, I took medical leave. Cause my body is aching and I've been vomiting the past couple of days. I opened the fridge to take a carton out and, you guessed it, they were missing. So of course, the first person I thought of was my younger sister. I went after her ass on the phone, and she swore after the last time I told her to not touch my sheet without my permission. She only took her white once. So I went to my mom and asked her if anyone had taken them. We had guests over with kids on Saturday evening. She asked me to describe them, and when I did her eyes widened and I heard her whisper, "I thought your younger sister bought them," which is like the worst excuse you could come up with, and it still doesn't excuse anyone taking them without permission BTW. So I asked what she meant and she said that my younger brother took them. When did he come back? And why? Sorry. Still extremely salty about that. He doesn't even live here anymore. If he took one single carton, hey, I'm fine with that. But he took all remaining 5. I think the best part was my mom, who said my parents, would buy it for me, and I was like, TF. Where's the logic in that? I want to know why that little sucker did that, when he had the audacity to get upset when someone touches his items. So I blasted him on our WhatsApp group. My dad says he'll replace it, and to start writing our names on the stuff we bought just to be safe. I replied back with, I can replace it on my own. I just wanted to know why he'd do that without asking whose it belongs to and if it was okay to take it. You don't see me waltzing into his home grabbing whatever TF we want. He doesn't even live with us anymore. Also, I might as well leave the house and rent a place instead if it means a 100% grunny no one is going to take my things without telling me. While it is heavily cheaper to stay with my parents, I can choose to rent someplace else. My mom just refuses to let me do such a thing because I'm also her eldest daughter and baby, but that's another story for another time. First brother told me to quit it, managed me directly, saying that the youngest of the brothers is the golden child, and it is to be expected. I told him, I ain't letting our parents pull that sheet on me. I'm not going to let them enable him. He's not the only one who knows how to throw a tantrum. This was spoken in the heat of the moment. I won't throw a tantrum, but I am not going to tolerate my parents enabling him further. Easily I would have just kept quiet if my dad had just stopped at, we'll investigate it. But the moment he mentioned replace I lost all my patience. Anyhow, everything's quiet as of now. No replies from my younger brother, or his wife, who is a whole another story lol, or my parents too. I'm simmering still, but not as angry. Gonna buy the drinks again if they still have it on sale later on. Thanks for reading. I've always been reading on entitled siblings, family but never really thought of my younger brother as one until he got married. Also, I am aware that I'm an asshole too. I'm just sick of my mother always defending his actions, or enabling it. Once my mom told my younger brother jokingly to slap our youngest. After the third slap, and humiliating her, did our mom tell him to stop? She ran away from home for 3 days. I wonder why. This is an Asian household. I don't get why my younger brother is getting favored because our youngest sister is the most successful out of all of us. Might be because he's the youngest son. I'm extremely petty. That's why my younger sister always listens to my warnings. The last time she didn't listen to me to stop using my makeup remover, when she already has one. I went and used up all of hers. She used up all of my coconut bomb makeup remover, and didn't bother to close the lid. Since then, she's always heeded my warnings, and would ask my permission in advance if she needs to borrow or use something of mine. I've gotten into a scuffle with my youngest brother as well, but I'm pretty sure he's got nothing inside that head of his because he's learned nothing.